Today, we're diving into a really powerful warning about our future. And what's so interesting is that it doesn't come from a critic on the sidelines. It comes from one of the people who's actually building it. In his book, The Coming Wave, AI pioneer Mustafa Suleyman lays out why the very technology he helped create could be our greatest triumph or our final mistake.
And this is what makes this book so compelling. Who wrote it? See, Mustafa Suleyman isn't some outsider. He co-founded the legendary AI labs DeepMind and Inflection AI. He's the real deal. He loves this stuff, he genuinely believes in its power to do good, and that's exactly why his warning is so chilling. When a true believer sounds the alarm, you have to listen.
Okay, so let's zoom out for a second. Humanity's been through huge technological shifts before, right? We had the agricultural revolution, which basically created civilization, the printing press, the steam engine, electricity, the internet. Each one completely remade the world. These are what you call general-purpose technologies. But the argument here is that what's coming next is on a whole other level.
Yeah, the core idea of this whole book is that this isn't just another item to add to that timeline. This new wave is fundamentally different. Different in what it does, how fast it moves, and the sheer power it holds.
So, how is it different? Well, think about it like this. Past waves were all about us getting better at controlling physical stuff. Energy, materials, that kind of thing. This new wave lets us manipulate intelligence and life itself. And the speed? It's just off the charts. Progress used to take decades. Now it's exponential. But here's the real kicker. The tools to do this are getting cheaper and easier to access for almost anyone.
And the two engines that are driving this whole thing are artificial intelligence and synthetic biology. The key thing to understand is that they aren't just separate technologies. They're starting to connect and amplify each other, creating this incredibly powerful and kind of combustible combination.
To get a sense of the mind-boggling scale of AI, just look at the ancient game of Go. The number you see here, that's the number of possible positions on a Go board. It is a number so ridiculously vast, it's bigger than the number of atoms in the known universe. And yet, AI has already mastered this.
And the scale of these AI models is just exploding. We're now building models with trillions of what are called parameters. You can think of them as tiny little knobs the AI turns as it learns. A 10 trillion parameter model already exists. We're getting really, really close to what you might call brain-scale computing. And this brings us right to the central paradox of the book. The whole reason people like Suleyman are building these tools is to solve our biggest problems: climate change, disease, you name it. But that exact same power comes with risks that are just unprecedented. So first, let's just dream a little about the promise here. We're talking about a future where we could cure genetic diseases like they're the common cold. A future where AI helps us discover new forms of clean energy, or where we design tiny biological machines to literally eat the plastic in our oceans. Personalized medicine, tailored exactly to you. I mean, it sounds like utopia, right? But here's the flip side. Every single one of these technologies is dual use. For instance, there was an experiment where they took an AI designed to find life-saving drugs. They tweaked its instructions a tiny bit, and in less than 6 hours, it designed 40,000 potential chemical weapons. This is the same power that could be used to create autonomous killer drone swarms or new synthetic viruses that no one has a defense against.
And this leads to a terrifying new reality. The kind of power that once belonged only to superpowers is now being put into the hands of individuals. The book calls this asymmetric risk, and this quote just nails it. A single motivated person might soon have the ability to kill 1 billion people. It's the idea that one person could cause catastrophic, global-scale harm.
The obvious question then is, if the stakes are this high, why on earth don't we just hit the brakes? Well, the answer is that this wave isn't just happening on its own. It's being pushed forward by these incredibly powerful, tangled-up forces. So what are these forces? Well, the biggest one is geopolitics. It's a flat-out tech arms race between nations for strategic advantage. Then there's the money, a mind-boggling potential market worth trillions and trillions of dollars. But it's not just about power and profit. You've also got the simple, relentless drive of scientific curiosity. And maybe the most powerful incentive of all, the moral duty to use these amazing tools to solve our biggest problems, like climate change.
So when you add all that up, what do you get? You get the ultimate collective action problem. Every single player, every country, every company, every lab has a perfectly rational reason to keep racing ahead. If you slow down, you risk getting left in the dust.
And this leads us to Suleyman's core conclusion. We cannot stop this. Trying to ban it, trying to put the genie back in the bottle, it's a fantasy. So the only realistic option left is to accept that the wave is here and focus all of our energy on learning how to contain it, how to steer it.
He calls this strategy the narrow path. And it's like walking a tightrope. If you're too open with the technology, you could unleash a catastrophe. But if you're too closed, too controlling, you can end up with a terrifying surveillance state. The whole goal is to find that tiny, difficult path right down the middle.
So how do we actually walk that path? The book lays out a three-part plan. First, on the national level, governments have to step up. That means things like mandatory safety audits for powerful AI and a clear AI Bill of Rights to protect all of us. Second, it has to be global. We need international treaties, a new kind of diplomacy for tech, just like we did with nuclear weapons. And finally, number 3, it has to be about culture. This can't just be a top-down fix. We have to build a society that values caution, that brings critics inside the labs, and that demands accountability from the creators.
So we're left with this one enormous question. The wave isn't on the horizon anymore. It's here. It's breaking all around us. The technologies that will define our century are being built right now. The challenge is immense, the stakes could not possibly be higher, and the question of whether we can learn to steer it before it overwhelms us, well, that's still very much an open question.